Welcome to Working Title with Zach Sams, a show dedicated to updating you on the current state of affairs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We'll examine new developments in our thriving city, economic activity, and explore how the real estate and title industries are contributing to make DFW strong. Now, here to spew his city pride, your host and fellow Dallasite, Zach Sams.
All right. Here we are. We are back. It is July, halfway through the summer, and Zach, man, I didn't introduce you. Zach Lewis.
Hi.
Our famous producer.
Yes.
Who, man, I haven't seen you in a while, brother. How you doing?
It's been a minute. Yeah, summer has come and is still here. I've been okay. Took a couple vacations. How about yourself?
Well, I wish I could say that I haven't seen you in a while because I've been on vacation. That would be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've just been working a lot, man, so it's good to be back in here, good to be doing the show.
Yeah, it feels good. It's nice to get back in the saddle.
Well, it's good to be in here and out of the heat. It is hot. It's so hot out there.
It is toasty. Gorgeous day out. Not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, it is. You know, after 35 years in Texas, and it's the first summer we had a really hot one. So right. I don't know where it came from, but here it is. So we got a great show today.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a really famous real estate agent on with us today.
Do we really?
Yeah, you've probably heard of her.
Really famous?
Very famous.
Oh, wow.
Very famous. Her name is Tonya Peek. She's with Coldwell Banker in Frisco, and she's here to tell us and talk to us about, this crazy real estate market that we are in Dallas, and it's not letting up halfway through the summer. I mean, we've got, a jumbo jet of people moving to Dallas-Fort Worth every single day. It's crazy. We can't keep up, but that's a good problem. Wouldn't you say, Tonya?
Excellent. It's an excellent problem to have.
Absolutely. So, Tonya, tell us about you. How'd you get into real estate? I know you're with Coldwell Banker. So what do we call your team? Is it the Tonya Peek team?
Tonya Peek Group.
The Tonya Peek Group. I like that. So, Tonya, tell us about yourself. How'd you get into real estate? How long have you been doing it?
I got into it in 2001. I did pharmaceutical sales before that, and then I stayed home for a few years with my children, and then when I went back to work, I became a realtor. I thought it would give me more flexibility with my schedule and less travel, so I started working in 2001. So
has that worked out? Are you more flexible and less travel?
I am.
Yeah?
I
okay,
am.
good.
But I work more hours.
Sometimes you can choose your hours, but yeah, there's just not as you're running short on hours some days, aren't you?
Exactly. If I could clone myself, I'd be doing really good.
No kidding. Well, I mean, 2017 real estate in North Texas. So, since 2001, have you been? Has there been a similar time in the business as it is right now in the marketplace of this?
No, we've never been like it has been this past 2 years. Before that, we went through the market was stagnant, and then it went in the lull. We had the crash, and then it slowly came back. But the last 2 years have been phenomenal.
It's just going crazy. So, what do you attribute all of this just unbelievable growth that we're having here? What, in your opinion, what's driving that?
I would think a ton of relocation is really what I'm seeing. More relocation than I've ever seen in the years past. I would think all the big companies coming into the Plano area have just brought an influx of people, much more than we had experienced years before. And then you have a lot of people that liked the feel of Frisco, say when it was smaller. So as more people are coming in, they're wanting to move out and go further north. So you're getting double there because you've got relo coming in and you've got current people wanting to go a little bit further north to get a little bit more space perhaps. So lots of movement going on, which is good for all of us.
Yeah, it's like a perfect storm, right?
It is.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't tell all these people relocating here. Maybe they didn't tell them, to come check us out in July because it's hot. I wonder if they're regretting it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're talking about it a lot.
Yeah. We still have you can still get much more lifestyle in Dallas-Fort Worth than you can in some other parts of the country. And, our affordability, the companies moving here, tax policy, it's all driving that relocation. And I'm thankful we've got it. I'm thankful for all the people coming here.
I am too. I'm thankful. I welcome them, and everybody seems to love it too. Well, a lot of people, once they get here, they think it's going to be completely different, that we all wear cowboy hats and ride our horses to work.
And carry guns.
But
we all do carry guns, by the way, if you're out there, just so you know.
Expecting to see tumbleweeds rolling through downtown, yeah.
But once they get here and get a little taste of the lifestyle and what all you can do and how convenient everything is and how new everything is, they seem to love it. And the schools are phenomenal, so they don't have to go to private schools as often. They can go to the public schools and still get a good education. They seem extremely pleased.
That is totally true. That's totally true. So we're getting it done here in Dallas-Fort Worth. So if you're out there listening and you're wondering where should you move, Dallas-Fort Worth is the place to be, and Tonya Peek is the realtor to use. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about tell us a little more about where you are in the marketplace. You've mentioned Frisco area. Is that kind of where your base is?
My office is based out of Frisco, but I work majority of that area. I'll work anywhere, North Dallas, Plano, McKinney, Allen, Frisco, Prosper, all of those areas is where I do majority of my business.
Okay. And all of those areas are really exploding. They all they all have their kind of own unique thing going on.
Correct.
So where do most people, that are moving out here when they're working with you, where are they wanting to be, and what's important to, today's buyer when they're buying a property?
Well, it just depends on their age and what their situation is. If they have small children, schools are their primary focus. School's the driver. And then they also want a close-knit community where they can get plugged in quickly and not feel out of their sorts and get to know friends. So a lot of the subdivision in Frisco have community gatherings and lots of things to get everybody plugged in quicker to make friends. So a lot of them are looking for HOAs with master plan communities. Things like that they can do. But the schools are important if they have small children. And if they don't, if they're empty nesters, a lot of them are just looking for a view in the back, like a golf course view or backs to a creek or getting into a community that has golf or something like that. So each situation is different, but they're all good.
They're all good. And what about, we're seeing the this live, work, play kind of thing, where the urban village, the legacy urban village, those kind of things. Are you seeing much activity or demand for those types of, that type of market?
Yes, I'm having quite a few people come in asking about that. A lot of single people or a lot of people without children love the live, work, play. A lot of people are looking into Legacy West. I think there's a huge waiting list to get into that area. From my understanding, over 400 people are on the wait list to try to move into that area so that they can go out and eat and have a beverage and still be able to walk back home to their place and just be conveniently located to everything that's going on in that $5 billion mile that we've got going there.
Absolutely. And walking home's a good thing because you can't have a beverage and drive anymore.
No, you need to Uber or walk. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's really cool. And, that's interesting. You mentioned that about Legacy West because we're moving an office over in that direction and talk about the demand and the waiting list. It's tough to be a buyer or looking for a lease out there. You have no leverage.
You have no leverage. You pay sticker price.
Yeah, or more, or more.
Exactly.
Are you still seeing that in the marketplace? People paying above asking price?
I am in certain price range. I'm running into a lot more of that. But yes, you are getting in. When you have a multiple offer situation, more than likely that seller's going to get more than asking price.
That is very interesting. So in the next segment, I really kind of want to dive into, you mentioned that multiple offers. And so, some sellers are probably excited about that, and then the buyers are kind of probably nervous about that they're going to get into those situations.
Correct.
So I bet you could share some insight on how to prepare somebody for that. So I kind of want to get into that since that's a big part of the market, and really appreciate you being on. This is going to be a great show.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me.
All right, you got it. So we'll be back with Tonya Peek from Coldwell Banker Residential in Frisco.
He calls his show Working Title. Bless his heart. More with Zach Sams still to come on RNCN.
Sometimes I don't know why, but this old town just seems so hopeless.
Determining value in the Big D and beyond. This is Working Title with Zach Sams.
Okay, and we are back with the famous Tonya Peek of Coldwell Banker Residential with the Tonya Peek Group. That's got a good ring to it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, did you come up with that yourself?
I did.
You did? You did good. You did really good. So Tonya, we were talking a little bit in the last segment about, what it's like to be a consumer in this market right now, and And, you know, when you have, I guess, I don't remember the last time we had a normal market or what people call a, quote, normal market. I can do quotes now, Zach, because we have the camera.
You can do quotes. Yeah, people can actually
I just
see
realized
your
that.
air quotes.
Yeah, because I was about to do quotes, and then I thought, well, nobody can see them. But then I looked up at the screen, and we have video. So, okay. All right, good. That was ADD. It worked right there. There it went. It just fired off.
Squirrel.
The amphetamine pill did not work today at all. Okay. All right. So, so the consumer in this market, I mean, like, so they're getting into like a hornet's nest, right?
Yes.
You know, seller, it's a hornet's nest because everybody wants to buy their home.
Right.
And then buyers, it's a hornet's nest because they probably pull up to see a home and then there's like 20 other people there.
Yes.
Has that ever happened?
It's happened. A lot of them, then you get multiple offers, and so it just can get very hectic very quickly.
So a seller probably thinks multiple offers, awesome. That's got to be good for me, right?
Right.
And then the buyer, like we said, is probably like, damn it, I don't want to be in a multiple offer situation, right? Because you probably feel like they're going to pay too much or something. So so tell us, like, on each side of that coin, like, you know, what mistakes do people make in there, and, you know, how do you navigate through a multiple offer situation, especially somebody like you who sells so many homes and probably deal with multiple offers, I would say, on a daily basis, I expect.
Yes.
Yeah. So walk us through that. What's the best way to navigate that as a seller, and how do buyers keep from, you know, overpaying in some of those situations?
The best thing a seller can do is listen to their realtor versus their friend on how to price their house.
They do that? They listen to their friends?
A lot of times they like to listen to their friends instead of their realtor. And so they know the numbers. They know where the house should be priced in order to be more likely to receive multiple offers, because if they price their home too high, they're not going to get the multiple offers that they're looking for, and they're probably going to end up selling for less than if they'd have priced it right and been able to drive themselves into a multiple offer situation. So as long as they price themselves right, they're much more likely to receive a multiple offer situation as a seller, which is more likely to get you over that asking price. So you're going to end up with more money in the long run if you price accurately.
Okay.
And as far as the buyers, they just really need to make sure they're certainly pre-approved before they place an offer with a lender to make sure they qualify for the house, because that seller is going to want a copy of that pre-approval letter. Of course, cash is king in a multiple offer situation, as long as it's definitely still at least the highest offer or close to the highest offer. Mm-hmm. But the most money down is typically the one that's going to win. If you have a buyer that's only putting 5% down, even if they go way over asking, they're not as likely to get it, because then you're going to run into an appraisal issue that's going to cause the seller not to be able to sell the home because the home didn't appraise. So the most money down is typically the buyer that is able to win when you're in a multiple offer situation.
Interesting. And you bring the appraisal up, and so, like, you and I get that, but, like, the consumer, they probably don't understand the correlation on appraisal and how much they're putting down. Like, how does that become a problem for a buyer? And can you give them a little explanation for why the appraisal is important, especially when they're putting less money down?
When you're putting less money down, if you're only putting 5% down and the home doesn't appraise, say you're placing an offer on a $300,000 house, and you offer $310,000 and the home appraises at $300,000. If you're only putting 5% down, the bank will not loan you money to pay $310,000 for it. They will only loan you money to pay $300,000 because that's what it appraised for, and you're only putting 5% down. So if you're a buyer putting 30% down instead and it appraises for $300,000, then that buyer can still make up that $10,000 differential.
They're covering it in cash.
They're covering it in cash.
Okay, right. So that's important for buyers to know. And they probably do they run into that situation? They don't understand that?
Oh, yes. You have to explain it to them, and you have to let them know that in this situation, if the home doesn't appraise, that the buyer is going to be expected to make up the difference. The seller will not plan on lowering their price. That's the reason they're going with a buyer that's putting enough cash down that would still allow them to qualify for the loan.
Sure. That's a good tip. So, like, so what would you say? What are the biggest mistakes you're seeing in 2017? You know, that sellers are making, like when they're getting into the market.
I think a lot of sellers think their house is going to fly off the shelf no matter what. So it's important, no matter what the market is, to have your home professionally staged, to have it decluttered, to make sure it's show ready, to depersonalize the home, and then to price it accurately.
Okay. So those are all cool terms. I know what they mean. So, if I haven't sold a home in 7 years, right? what does it mean? I mean, declutter, we should know what that means. But, like, what does it mean to be show-ready or staged? Like, what does that mean? Or depersonalized, what does that mean?
That means take all your personal pictures down. Try to make the home look more like a model home as much as you can. Try to make it where when the buyer comes in, they're looking more at the home instead of your things, instead of your photographs. A lot of times the buyer will get distracted and start trying to figure out who lives there. Do they know them? And it just takes their focus off of the home. And so it's much better just to have the house as depersonalized as possible so the buyer can picture themselves living there more than they feel like they're in your home.
I got you. So I should take down my, like, Walmart family portrait
Yes.
thing, right, with my coonskin cap.
Take down your dead
Yeah.
animals, take down your photographs, take down anything that would be offensive to anyone. So anything like that would make the home look much more presentable to a potential buyer.
So Tabby, my cat, I have stuffed on my mantle, I have to take down?
I would put Tabby away.
You do not have a stuffed cat.
Of course I do. I have all my stuffed cats. Every cat I've ever had, I have stuffed, and I got a weird cat room.
All right.
Take Bambi off the wall too.
Yeah.
People don't go for Bambi, huh?
Not on the wall.
Not
no.
even in Texas?
Not
Now
even in
they're all
Texas.
moving from somewhere else.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
they're all mad. Yeah, they're mad about it. Okay. Well, that's good tips, and people just don't get. Do people not understand that sometimes?
A lot of times they do not. When they live in the home, they don't really know that they live sometimes in what other people would see as clutter or as a home that's got a lot of things on the wall and is very, very a busy home. So it's best to have a professional come in and give you their advice and opinion and follow it as much as you can.
So when somebody stages a home, is that part of your team, part of your package?
Yes,
Yeah.
I definitely offer staging. I send a stager over to every one of my listings so they can give them their advice and opinion on what they need to do to have the house as ready as possible for both photography and for the buyers.
Okay, so so photography, staging, these are pretty important details to selling a home.
They're extremely important because the photographs are what brings them in the first place.
So you just have like a really good cell phone picture taker that you do your pictures with?
No, we hire professional photographers for sure.
Okay, and is that part of your deal as well?
Correct.
Okay, interesting. So Tonya, let me kind of shift a little gears here. So I was reading yesterday. A client of mine called me and they said, "Hey, how many agents are in DFW?" And I said, "Okay, let me check." And last time I checked, it was like 43,000, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
And then I checked just like a week ago, and we're almost at 49,000 agents. So that seems like a big number to me.
That's a huge number, and I think it's growing by the day because everybody hears what a great market we're in, and everybody
And they
thinks
think it's
it's
easy, right?
work and
Yeah.
how fast you can make a lot of money, and so they get in, and most of the time they get out as fast as they got in.
Right. It's a very saturated market. So when we come back, I want to hear, like, how does somebody, pick an agent? How do they know who's good and who's not good, and what's and what questions should they ask? You think you could help us with that?
I certainly can.
Awesome. All right. Well, when we get back, the famous Tonya Peek of Coldwell Banker Residential and the Tonya Peek Group will tell us, how do we pick a real estate agent? See you soon.
Pointing a microscope on the Metroplex. More of Working Title with Zach Sams right after this. Buying into the Texas lifestyle yet? Working Title has more to invest on RNCN.
All righty, we are back, segment 3, and she came back for segment 3, the most famous real estate agent in Frisco, Tonya Peek with Coldwell Banker Residential and the Tonya Peek Group. Tonya, thanks for being back.
Thank you, Zach.
I'm glad you are here. So we were just talking about, how many real estate agents are in, the DFW area, and it's growing because it's a hot market, right? So, NAR used to say that the National Association of Realtors used to say that people moved every 7 years. Is that still the trend?
Yes.
It is. Okay. So if I haven't bought a home in 7 years, or I've never bought a home, and I'm getting 25 pieces of mail in my house, and I know 10 realtors, and and there's 49,000 real estate agents in DFW. I mean, what does the consumer do? How do they go about selecting the right agent?
It can be very troublesome, stressful, wondering if you're going to get the right agent because there's great agents and there's not so great agents.
Just like any profession,
like
right?
any profession. So, and they're certainly all very different. So my advice would certainly be to probably talk to your friends to find out if any of them have used an agent lately that they've been extremely happy with and have had a good experience with, that they've gone from contract to close with, so they can see the whole full transaction with an agent. That's always a good place to start.
So talk to your friends about their agent, but not about pricing.
Exactly.
Right. Or
Exactly.
negotiating.
Exactly.
Right.
Just find out if they've got an agent that knows what they're doing. If they do, that's usually a good place to start. Otherwise, you can, start Googling and you can start looking for top agents. And then I would look for ones that have numerous reviews about them from past clients. I mean, if you Google me right now, you could go to Zillow and I have 99 past client reviews that are all 5-star.
99? Wow.
I have had 99 clients that have taken the time to go online to put a review about me, and they're all 5-star.
Yeah, putting a review in Zillow isn't actually the easiest process, is it?
No, it's very tedious because they have to double check that it's actually them, that it's not like my staff making them up. So it's quite a process, and they've gone out of their way to do that for me, which I greatly appreciate. Which
That is awesome.
it
So
really
one
shows
more, we got 100.
Oh yeah, that'll
Wow.
be here any day.
Is
That's
Zillow, kind of off the wall question here, I used Zillow back in college to rent a house. Is that still like a reputable site to use? Is that still a good one?
It's not accurate as far as the prices of the homes, but it's not really the only place the layman has to go because they don't have access to MLS. So people use it. They use it quite a bit. Those estimates can be somewhat accurate. I mean, you always need to
Probably
double
getting
check.
better.
Yeah, it's getting better
Than they were in
Than
the
they were.
beginning,
So
yeah.
it's certainly a resource that the majority of the people use.
It worked for me.
Well, they don't. I mean, you start looking for homes. I mean, Zillow's going to be the number one thing on a Google search, right?
It is.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of like,
It
you
is.
can't beat them, join them kind of thing, right?
It certainly is. I have no problem with Zillow, not at all. I mean, I like the reviews that are on there. I mean, my clients get on there and
that's
look at their
helpful for you,
estimate.
right?
They
Yeah.
look at their estimates. The only time Zillow really can become a problem is when you have buyers that are looking for homes on there, because a lot of the homes on there are obsolete and are not still on the market, are inaccurate.
not even on the market.
Not even on the market. They say they're pre-foreclosure when they're not pre-foreclosure or even a foreclosure. So you really need to get with your realtor to get exactly what's accurate, but it's certainly a good place to start.
Right. So, so you're the Tonya Peek group.
Correct.
So group, I think, means more than one person, right?
Correct.
And so some real estate agents or realtors, they're kind of standalone. It's just them. So like, have you ever been just you, or were you always part of a group? Like, how did that work?
I've been only just me,
Uh-huh.
For a few years throughout my career, I've been just me. I started with Tiffany Sharkey as the one that got me into the business, and we were just a 2-person team for
Okay.
a number of years. And then I went out on my own and stayed by myself for quite a while. And then I started formulating a group when I got busy enough that I needed help. And we're getting a lot of leads that, I did not have enough time to do. So I started formulating a team at that time that could help me with some of the leads that I was getting. And then the biggest asset is just getting a staff, getting assistants that can help you with the paperwork and can help you with managing everything to make sure everything's done accurately.
Sure. So, why would somebody is working with a group, in your opinion, more beneficial to the client than, like, you're going to actually say no to this, being a group, but why is that more beneficial to the client than maybe an individual person, especially since you've been both? What do you think?
I think as a group, it's much better, in my opinion, because there's 5 people on my team. If someone needs to go see their house and I'm not available, I've got somebody on my team that can get over there and show it to them immediately. So you've almost got like 6 in 1 that you've got when you go with a group, because we help each other out. If I'm out of town on vacation, my clients don't have to not get to go see a house that they want to see, because someone on my team would be there to show it to them, and vice versa for the people on my team. We all do it for each other. So it's like one happy family that we all try to help each other get to the common goal of what's best for our client.
Right. And also, I guess they can, you can't always answer the phone every minute of every day. So
Correct.
there's a point of contact that they can get a hold of. And
Correct.
Sometimes people just have an easy question
Correct.
that anybody in your team could probably answer.
That's right.
But if they're just relying on you,
It may be 4 hours before they could reach you because, if you're with a buyer, you're not answering your phone. You're paying attention to that client and focusing on that client. So when you have a team, if somebody has something that comes up, you've got people that are able to continue to help them with their questions because people are want immediate answers when it's this emotional and you've got a lot going on. So they don't necessarily want to wait all day to get an answer to a simple question that they have. So when you have a group like that, someone can always answer the question that they have.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you this. So if I'm a client, right, and I'm going to work with the Tonya Peek group, like what does that look like? What's the route that a client takes through your team and through their transaction, and who does what on, like, what kind of positions are on your team? I mean, who would we work with or run into?
Well, if I have like my own clients, and so I have one assistant that handles my listings and one assistant that handles my buyers. So if you're listing with me, you would deal with me and Allie because Allie helps me do my listing paperwork and make sure with the signs in the yard, make sure the flyers are accurate and make sure it's accurate in MLS and does all that for me. Mm-hmm. If you're a buyer on my team, then Liz would be who would help. She makes sure you get your home warranty ordered, make sure your title is correct, follows the whole transaction through like that. The other people on my team typically have their own clients, but we help each other. So if you are an internet lead and you come in and I'm out with somebody on my team would take you, and then they would go show you properties or come out and help you list your house. And then I am the lead agent, so I also communicate with that client, but that person on my team is the main point of contact at that time.
I got you. There's a lot of components to a real estate transaction, aren't there?
Oh, it's about 60% paperwork. So there's a lot of components and a lot of variables, and things can change on a dime.
So would you say, like, I mean, you're not selling homes. You're navigating somebody through a process.
Oh, certainly.
Right?
You're navigating them through a process, navigating them through repairs. I mean, the repairs are some of the biggest things that come up that can either make a deal go north or go south, depending on how well an agent can negotiate through what comes up on an inspection report. That's huge.
So is it fair to say probably the biggest differentiator between agents is negotiating skills?
Negotiating skills and experience.
Yeah. Okay. That makes really good sense. So there's somebody out there and all of our millions and millions of listeners that are thinking, wow, Tonya Peek sounds awesome. I'm thinking about buying or selling a home. How do I get a hold of Tonya Peek? What do we do? If somebody wants to call you right now or they want to get a hold of your team, what do we do?
You can call me at 214-356-4472, or you can get on my website, TonyaPeek.com, and that's TONYA, P as in Paul, EEK.com.
All right. And so on your website, what can they get there? Just more information about you and your team? More information
about me, more information about my whole team. They can search the MLS. You can do all kinds of things on there just to get the history about who we all are. You can get a home evaluation on your home if you want to know what your home's worth.
Oh, that's a good tool.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, Tonya Peek, thank you so much for coming on. That was some great information. And hey, if you're out there and you're in the market and you need to get some questions answered, or you need some help buying a home or selling a home right now, check out Tonya Peek, TonyaPeek.com. Tonya, give us that phone number one more time.
214-356-4472.
Awesome, Tonya. Thanks for coming on. Would you come back on and do it again with us?
I'd love to. Thank you, Zach, for the opportunity.
You got it. This was Working Title with Zach Sams and our great guest host, Tonya Peek. Thank you, and see you next time.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.